DOT, whatever, maybe you don't want to call it that, because we'll get confused with Department of Transportation, but I always think it should never be more than 13 people. And the reason I do that, the bigger the community, the less like you are ever getting anything done. We meet for the sake of meetings. What's the team that's already here?
Citizens and businesses.
What is it? Cabo?
Citizens and businesses.
Well, maybe that's the organization. I mean, I'm not one for creating more committees and more things, but if Cabo can do that, but I always say you should have a mayor, maybe another council or commissioner on it, one or two commissioners. I think it's good to have somebody from the college on it. I think having a couple of downtown businesses, a couple of downtown property owners, of course, Becky, your tourism and events. You have a city clerk or a city administrator. Okay, right back here. So you would be on it because, the person who writes the checks, you know how that works, or gets grants and everything. I think, let's see, who else would be on it? If you have a parks department or, I don't know, parks department right here. Okay, there you go. You ought to be on it. And maybe that's what's already on this team. But you need some team that will take this and say, okay, let's go through and dissect these things that Roger brought to us, figure out which ones do we want to do, which ones can't we do. Some of you may say, hey, we need some additional help. Roger, can you come back and sit down with us for a couple of days and we'll do deep dives on them? Remember, we didn't walk in any of these buildings. We don't know what's going to motivate. All I know is the buildings on each side of that plaza could be worth an absolute fortune. And I always hate bringing up stuff like this, but you've already seen the plan. You've already done plans. But I don't want them to hold hostage for those buildings, but I'd be talking to these properties, I don't care where they're located, saying, look, you have a fantastic opportunity to have a restaurant. We're going to give you all the outdoor space you want. It's going to be right where we're going to bring all these people. I mean, both those need to be right at the table right away because they have a tremendous opportunity. By the way, people in plazas, they benefit 3 blocks away. So it'll help that whole section. And by the way, I said Woodland to Spring. You might say, well, we want to stretch it out to where Washington School is. I mean, this is just my suggestions, our suggestions. We've been doing it a long time. And so, you know what, you could go out and spend $100 grand for consultants, and I think this will give you more money, more for your money. Because this is affordable. There's nothing in there expensive. Your wayfinding might cost 25 grand. Because signs are expensive to build, and but there's grants for that. There's T21 transportation grants. There's grants for a lot of this. We know Sam just got $300,000 grant to build a plaza. So it's out there. Make sense? Yes, great.
Did you form any opinion on Walnut Street's parallel parking and 2-directional traffic? I know it'd be a big deal to buy or to take over one of the alleys and buy the houses on the back side of the alley, but any opinion on that?
Well, first of all, a lot of places that did one-way streets are putting them back to two-way streets. So two-way streets, for you, it's because you have access. We want people to go both ways to and from the parks on Walnut. You know how it connects down and everything. So that would just make sense to keep it two streets. Angle-in parking will increase retail sales. Nobody likes parallel parking. I don't think you have the width to do angle-in parking. We have seen cities where they do angle-in parking on one side, parallel on the other, and they alternate every other block. I think it was fantastic that you had a public parking lot downtown. Not very well signed, but that's easy to fix. And so, yeah, parallel parking is, angle-in parking increases retail sales. Unfortunately, you have to have the width for it. So it works in towns like LaSalle, so we have big, huge, wide boulevards running through your downtown. But I got to tell you one thing, is congestion is the downtown's very best friend. The slower people go, the more money they will spend. Really? It's true. Go to Galena. I mean, you can't get more congested than that. Let's go to Branson, Missouri. But anyway, nobody likes parallel parking. I mean, now they have cars that parallel park themselves. And when you have angle-in parking, people go, oh, quick, that's a cute shot, pull in. Whereas angle-in parking isn't worth the hassle of, and so that's that. But I would give it two-way streets just because I like to access both ways. You have a good first impression both ways coming into town, into downtown, and your access to and from 39. And I love the sign that said shortcut to the state parks. I'm like, yes, right through the middle of downtown. Unfortunately, that first sign, if you turn left, says State Park's 5 miles, and you go by the beer stand, but you miss most of downtown. So, yeah. Any last questions? I know I kept you a long time today, but this is meant to just say, what can we do to make our town even better? We already have a great town. I can't believe there's 1,200 cities and towns in the state, and I'll bet you 1,199, taking out Chicago, would love to be right next to the most visited state park in the state. And you have it. You own it. I think you need to own the parks. Yes, sir. I thought I was done.
The state of Illinois runs commercials on television out of Chicago, and they have pictures of Galena, Chicago, Springfield, and the fourth picture is that waterfall in Matheson State Park, and we don't take any advantage
No.
of that connection.
And you know, the reason they're showing Galena and Springfield and some of these downtowns is because they're destinations in themselves. Wouldn't that be cool? People go to places like Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's actually Jackson. You know what? They do more visitors. Jackson, a town of 10,000, they do more visitors a year than Grand Teton and Yellowstone National Park combined. I mean, because their downtown is a draw. Wouldn't that be cool if your downtown was the destination? And once again, we're not trying to make you Galena or whatever, but gee, if you had a piece of that, wouldn't that be nice? And yeah, you're right, they show that waterfall and it's right next door. I mean, it's what, 5 minutes away? It's like, duh, you know? So with that, thank you so much for staying with us.